So before we start, just a short recap in case you were not there, you missed the last time. So, uh, you know, Carl had been hunting in schools as to where, how to find Shaska. Finally, he found her and found her real name was Charlotte. And she hadn't been able to come. And then uh, he asked her to come that same evening, and she came. And they went. The last time we read, they went to both Mr. Darcy's house, then where he wanted them to start a book club. Then they're trying to help Dr. Foster's. They have given him dog, which is a cat, to try and look after for a few days. Uh, we had also that chapter what we read last time, not the chapter, the what we read last time had started with Sabine at her father's grave and talking to him, uh, and so that's where it was, right? We've just finished with Dr. Foster's house, and now they are standing in front of Effie's house. Now today I want to finish this chapter, so we'll try and read a reasonable amount. Okay. But if you don't understand anything in the middle, please feel free to raise your hand, and Manisha ma'am will unmute you, and then you can ask, or you can ask your question in the chat. Manisha, just watch the chat, please, right, in case somebody can't understand something. So they were standing in front of Effie's house, from which screams were emerging. So loudly, the pigeons on the roof were flapping and fleeing in panic. Carl took off his backpack and took out Effie's book. Then he walked resolutely. What is resolutely? What is resolutely? Anybody? What is resolutely? Resolutely, anybody? What does resolutely mean? If you don't know, you're not asking, or you know and you're not telling, which is the case. Yes. Harshita, you're not supposed to answer this. Yeah, Arfa said. No, not fast, Shaurya, with determination. Right? He walked resolutely to the door, but each time he tried to ring the bell, a new scream rang out, making him flinch away. What is flinch? What is flinch? Yeah, you can show it, Manisha. Let's see, make progress. Right. Okay, it's an instinctive reaction, right, to fear or pain, right? And you sort of, it's a movement, right? It's flinch away means you sort of moved away, right? There were sharp, clear screams, the kind that are uttered in reaction to pain. And there were screams that held no hope of an end to the pain. Eventually, Carl's head drooped. Sometimes he said, giving Shaska a troubled look, a book is not enough. Not all wounds can be bound with paper. We need to find a public telephone. No, we don't. She unlocked her phone and handed it to him. Touch the green phone icon. When he still hesitated, she tapped it for him. Carl called the emergency number, asked for the police, and gave the address. After multiple prompts and a certain amount of hesitation, he also gave his name. Once he had been assured that help would be sent immediately, he handed the phone back to Shasta. I don't know how to hang up if I can't put it back on the hook. What hook? and ended the call. Right now, you also may not be familiar with what hook. Uh, I mean, it was. I remember a very interesting story. Many years ago, my son was fairly small, and we were watching a movie, and in that movie, uh, you know, uh, an old-fashioned telephone came, which we used to use when we were kids, right? Where you dial the number by, making the dial go round and round. And he actually asked, "What is this?" So I'm sure you may not have seen. You may not have seen a public telephone actually, because in India they're not so. We don't see so many. But there was a time, I think in the 80s, when they were really popular, and there were a lot of public telephones that had been set up, and especially to do STD or ISD. And people may not have the facility at home, but they used to go to these, phone booths and do those calls. But with the advent of cell phones and ISD and STD more available more freely and cheaper, they've all disappeared. Carl looked around. Where was there a good where was there a good view of Effie's house without being seen? He spotted a large container in front of a nail studio that was having a clear out. Shaska had to stand on tiptoe and pull herself up a few centimeters with her hands to see over the cold metal sides. It was 10 minutes before a patrol car pulled up in front of Effie's house. Shaska's toes were numb and her fingers were ice cold. Two police officers got out and rang the bell. A curtain twitched when the door opened to reveal Effie and her husband. She had both hands, he had both hands on her shoulders, close to her neck, exerting a faint pressure. "We are sorry to disturb you, but we received a report of screams coming from your house." The officer looked at Effie. "A woman's scream. The caller suspected you were being beaten. Or is there another woman in the house?" "It's all a misunderstanding," said Effie's husband with a laugh. "I had the TV turned up loud." "Is that true?" the officer asked Effie. "Yes," said Effie, smiling. "I'd never hit you, would I, darling?" "Tell the officer." "He wouldn't," said Effie, smiling. The officer gave her a searching stare. "Would you like to speak to us alone?" No, she wouldn't. "We have no secrets from one another. That's what a good marriage is all about. And that's what we have." He gave her a firm kiss on the cheek. Effie winced. It was exactly the spot he'd just hit her. "What's the matter with your cheek?" said the officer. "Toothache," said Effie, smiling. Once again, the officer held her gaze for a long time. "We really appreciate you coming out." Effie's husband crossed his arms. "It's good that you follow up calls like this, but in this case, it's a false alarm. So the next time someone calls you because I got the TV up too loud, you'll know to save yourself the trouble of coming out." He poked Effie. "Isn't that right, darling?" "Yes, I'm sure there are other women who really do need your help," said Effie with a smile. "Is that it then?" asked her husband. "We'd like to get back to the film. The ending is supposed to be the best part." "I'll turn it down, of course." Carl stepped forward from behind the container. His body resisted. It made his heart beat faster and his knees trembled. But Carl's will was stronger than his body. "They're both lying. He hits her. I heard it. That was no TV." "Ha! The bookseller," said Effie's husband. "I might have known. No more ordering books from the psycho, darling, or my hand might slip for real." He laughed. Effie laughed too. Her entire body ached with the effort. The officer looked at Carl. They didn't see the sincere, conscientious man he was. They saw an old guy in shabby clothes looking out at the world with an expression of mild confusion, which indeed was what Carl was doing because right now this was a world he no longer understood. Next time, please make sure you're not calling us out for a TV, said one of the officers to Carl. Of course, we'd rather turn out one time too many than one time too few, but we can only do something if a victim of domestic violence will talk to us. He seemed to be talking to Effie rather than Carl, but her husband had already closed the door firmly and was now lowering the shutters on the windows facing the street. Okay, so how are you feeling about this now? Right? How are you feeling with what just happened? Right? For the first time, yes, Mehika. You can unmute and talk, Mehika. Anybody else? How are you feeling about this?
The I
Yeah,
would say
Meenakshi.
that the victims of domestic violence is rather sad, isn't it? The way they cannot communicate with outsiders, that they are facing so much of trouble, right? And they keep on accepting it till it is too late for them. Too late in the sense, not always death, but it can shatter their self esteem, leave them a shadow of what they ever was, right? So they ever were, right? So that is rather sad. Even when somebody is willing to help them, they are unable to take help. So that is the basic thought that's coming to me right now, apart from
Right.
what
So
is
you're
happening.
sad. You're feeling sad that she hasn't taken the help that
Yeah,
came her way.
yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other thought? Okay. I also felt sad that she hadn't and I was glad that Carl did something because they've known it for a while, right? And so far they've just been trying to give her books and trying to just talk to her and sort of see if she will confide in them in some way and you know make some sort of plan. I guess that's what they must be thinking, but they've not done anything so far, right? Carl didn't say a single word all the way to Sister Amaryllis convent, despite the fact that Shascha produced a continuous stream of suggestions on how to rescue Effie. They range from breaking and entering to hiring a private detective or a girl gang who took on detective assignments. The nun took one look at him, downcast and with shoulders hunched, and asked whether someone had hurt him. At that, Carl broke down. The hard shell enclosing his feelings shattered, and all his fears for Effie and his sense of failure came tumbling out. He didn't stop talking until Amaryllis gently laid a hand on his arm. All shall be well. No, it won't, not at all. Sister Amaryllis straightened her nun's habit. What is a habit? Nun's habit? Manisha, can you go there? What is a nun's habit? Hmm? Nun's habit? Let's see. Nun's habit is the traditional clothing worn by women in religious
So,
orders, serving as a visible symbol of their commitment to their faith and vows. Yeah, somebody is trying to say something. Tanmay?
Sir, a nun's habit is a traditional religious garment worn by nuns in various Christian denominations.
Right. And the components is the full dress, right? Tunic, veil, the whole thing. Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I lost where I was. Okay. I'll go to her. You can't. You'll never get back into the convent. So, sister is actually the last person in a particular convent, and the rule is that as long as some one person is there, they can't. Uh, I mean, they can't shut it. So she's the only person there, and she doesn't go out at all because if she goes out, she will lose her place to stay. Right? But now she's saying, "I'll go to her." You can't. You'll never get back into the convent. Ah, it'll be fine. Do you see anyone watching me? I've been worrying all this time for no reason. But no buts. What kind of a nun would I be if I stayed cowering in fear behind solid walls instead of standing by someone who needed help? Right? Cowering in fear. I think the way it's put, many times, as you know, the way when a sentence comes in the context of the sentence, you can understand the meaning, right? So you could be like, sort of shivering in fear or feeling down and out because of the fear. What will you do? Asked Shaska. The police couldn't do nothing. Sister Amaryllis disappeared into the depths of the convent to return a short while later with a Bible. The word of God is the strongest weapon. She could see the doubt in Carl's and Shaska's eyes. And if speaking it aloud is not enough, it's great for throwing. She winked at them, stepped onto the street, and closed the door behind her. Then Amaryllis caressed the stonework softly, as if it were a beloved pet she was leaving at home alone. She gave a short sigh, then looked at Carl. Take me there. Shaska had already run ahead. This way, it's not far, come on. It was entirely clear to Shaska that everything would now be all right. Amaryllis was a nun, which made her almost a saint, like Saint Martin or Saint Nicholas. And saints were kind of superhero. She didn't know exactly what superpowers a nun had. She certainly didn't shoot lasers from her eyes, and flying appeared to be out of the question. But she was definitely different from normal people. And since all the normal people had failed to help Effie, only an abnormal one was up to the task. Sister Amaryllis didn't believe in pausing for breath. She walked straight up to the house that Shaska pointed out and knocked on the door. There was a doorbell, but she decided that a determined knock would have more effect. Who's there? Shouted a harsh male voice. My name is Sister Maria Hildgard. I've come from St. Albans Benedictine Priory. So, we are calling her something else, Sister Amaryllis, because that's the fictional name that Carl has for her, right? And her real name is Maria. That doesn't even exist anymore. I still exist, and therefore so does the convent. Oh, you're that mad nun. The voice was drawing closer. We don't want to make a donation. I am not collecting money. We don't want to buy anything either. I have nothing to sell. We don't need anything. Everyone needs God. Go away. No, I shall stay. and I'll have all the time in the world. Your neighbors will see there's a nun standing on your doorstep and you're not letting her in. The man let out a roar. Has everyone gone crazy today? Andrea, you see to her. Okay, so Andrea is the real name. Effi is again the fictional name that uh, Carl has given her. And all these names that Carl gives are out of books that he's read because that character seems to come alive in the person that he's interacting with. But make it quick. We are not finished, you and me. That thing with the bookseller won't be over for you for a long time. Effie smoothed her clothes, making everything look as neat and tidy as it should. She smoothed her hair, then her face. She put on the expensive white heeled pumps that made her look like she was going to a dance. Finally, she put on charming smile that she practiced every morning in front of the bathroom mirror until her cheeks hurt. Only then did she open the door. In front of her, she saw not a nun, but a woman who had been locked in for a long time. A woman who had locked herself in a prison of her own choosing. A woman who had left that prison today. From first sight, they knew everything about one another. Come, said Sister Amaryllis, holding her hand. Now it's time. And Effie went, just like that. That was the beautiful thing about walking. It was so very simple. If she didn't think about all the things that might follow, all the anguish and injuries, then the act of walking itself was child's play. It was simply putting one foot in front of the other until suddenly she had left not just a house, but a marriage. Okay, Meenakshi, how are you feeling now?
Yeah,
Anybody else?
it's a great thing. It's a great thing that she has walked out. Walking away is the biggest problem, right? And people don't want to because of all the thoughts that come in. And the thoughts are our limitation. Our thoughts sometimes are becomes our limitations. But once we have walked out of the situation, liberty comes in, and then we are free to take decisions, isn't it? We are free to take decisions. As long as we don't walk away from a situation, everything will be as it is. So it's a great thing.
Right. You just said something about thoughts. Can you just say that again? Thoughts? You said thoughts?
Thoughts are our limitations because when we
Yes,
are
yes.
we
Yes.
just think about those
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what I wanted to say was that thoughts are mostly our limitations are in our thoughts. So that's a very powerful, lesson that you're sharing. That it actually thoughts that limit us. So, but coming back to this, so why do you think she walked out with Effie but didn't tell the police anything? Sorry, she walked out with sister and not with the police. Why do you think?
husband was not alongside when she walked off with the sister. The person who was limiting her was not there. One is
I
that.
suppose,
The second was,
I
of course,
suppose.
the identification between the two women. That, okay, we both are in our own prisons of our own making. Okay. So if
Right.
one could walk out of the convent and come to her, the other could, of course, walk out of the household and go with her, with sister.
Right. So you're saying she understood her husband wasn't there. Anything else? Anybody else? Any other thought?
Also, sister was a representative of God according to her.
No, that's also possible. Okay, two questions asked on meanings. We'll just come back to that. But what, I mean, any other reason do you think why she could have walked out with sister but not said anything to the police?
Because she could see the sincerity in the nun's face.
possible
to help her out. And that
as
sincerity may
as
not
we
be acknowledged with the police officer's face. It was just out of duty.
right,
But
and we did read how sister was very determined, right? She didn't take a second to decide that she needed to come, and she's very confident, and you know, she just came with the Bible in hand, and that's it. Right?
So
Anything
because
else?
she thought that the nun is like God.
Yeah, possible, because she thought she's a representative of God, and maybe she felt safe with the nun, right? So, I mean, but it's very interesting, right? It just happened in a second. So
One
it
more
seemed
reason,
that
sorry, sir. One more reason could be that the police are the representative of the law, would have led to punishment to her husband. And whatever it is, Effie actually, in her mind, she loved her husband. Okay. And any punishment to him or any such repercussion to him, she wouldn't have liked. In case of the nun, she did not have to think about these things. She was just walking away for her freedom. So it could be also that. I'm just a thought process.
yeah. So now my question is, this could be the reason, this could be the reason, this could be the reason. But it didn't take her long at all, right? In a second, she decided, right?
We did not.
So she's not thinking. It wasn't a thought out. She isn't thinking at that point of time, right? It's just a feeling that came over her, and she just walked. And sometimes, that's what happens. You just get that feeling. And I think for all the reasons you said, she just saw, she just felt faith in the sister, right?
Yeah,
In
faith in the
whichever way.
been ready to walk out. The main thing is not about
Yeah,
just she must have been ready. Her mind must have
yeah,
been ready somewhere along the line that it is time. Otherwise, no matter who comes along, she must have been ready somewhere along.
yeah. She must have been ready, and then she just sort of felt safe and secure for the reasons you all said, and then she just uh, walked. Okay. So, two meanings of two words are required. One is determined. Aktrit is asking, what is the meaning of determined? Anybody? What is the meaning of determined? Okay, we use determined as explaining the meaning of resolute, but what does determined mean? Anybody help Aktrit understand what does determined mean? Somebody's trying to answer that. Okay,
Excuse
when
me,
you
sir.
make up your mind to do something, right, and you make up your mind firmly, right, which say makes you, uh, yes, Tanmay.
Sir, something that discourages or prevents someone from doing something.
Determined, you're saying?
Ye-
No, 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 no. Determined is when you make up your mind firmly to decide to do something, right? And even if it's yeah, you said uh, somebody from PYDS has just put in the chat, and I think Tamanna, right? Having firmly decided to do something or to succeed, even if it is difficult, right? That's what determined means. Then meaning of glancing. Rajesh wants to know what is glancing, right? What is glancing? Yes, Asta. Keep trying to do something until we succeed. That's determination. Yes. Glancing. Anybody? Looking in a
Please,
particular direction. Yeah, Tanmay.
sir, could you please repeat?
Looking in a particular uh, direction, right? Okay. So, emergency number. Anybody know what is the emergency number in India?
708.
Huh?
100.
No, your voice is not coming clearly now, Tanmay. Anybody else? What is the emergency number in India? What is it? 112. Yes. Earlier we used to have different numbers, right? 100 for police, I think 101 for ambulance, 102 for something else. So you can call 100 or you can call 112. 112 is supposed to be the number for. Okay. So when we started to read in the beginning, there was an interesting uh, point made that this was a particular type of scream, right? And I hadn't really thought about it earlier. Uh, and so, screams can also be different, right? Because it depends on the emotion that's caused the scream. And then I sort of read, and it also depends, and that many times is determined from which part of the vocal cord the voice is coming out from. So screams can be different as well. Right. Just curious, how many people have a landline at home? Hmm? Anybody has a landline at home? Or do you know what a landline is? I don't know. Anybody? What is a landline? Do you have a landline at home? Uh, Anybody? Landline? Anybody? What is a telephone with wires? Yes, that's one way of describing it. Yes, and it's like it's in a fixed place. Yes, Talat.
Sir, a conventional communications connection by cable laid across the land.
Yeah. So that's how the signals are traveling, right? Like a wireless travels wireless. This is traveling through a cable, the signals, right? So that you can talk. And it's
Yes,
that
sir.
device which is fixed. It's fixed in one place. You can't carry it around like mobile. And then one very convenient device that was invented, which again you don't see much because you don't see many landlines, used to be a cordless phone. I remember when the cordless phone came, it was such a blessing because you didn't need to go and stand next to the phone and talk or sit next to the phone and talk. You could use the cordless and sort of walk around or go to another room or whatever. So this is, I mean, phone as a device has made, yes, it's a traditional phone, has made a lot and lot of progress in terms of uh, you know where we've reached. When I was a child, in fact, we didn't even earlier have dialing what I described. You used to pick up the phone, and there used to be an operator, and you should tell the number that you wanted. If you wanted to call a number outside your city, you had to what we call book a call. The operator will try and make the connection, then call you back and say, okay, now talk. And that could take days. Okay, days. Sometimes you could get it immediately, sometimes it could take days, right? And because of that, we had the concept of a telegram, right? If you wanted to inform somebody of something urgently, we used a telegram. So all these are things which I guess not familiar to you at all, right? Okay, anything else from what we've just read so far? Any other questions? Any other thoughts? Okay, let's see what else. I think there was something. So do you think the policemen could have done something more than what they did? Right? They just came and they, you know, asked and went away. Do you think they could have done something more?
Maybe they could have actually asked Effie to step aside and speak to them, but then see they are within they have to work within the bounds of whatever the rules are. So they couldn't have really done much more beyond that. They could have been a little more firm about getting Effie up away from her husband, and they could have tried to talk to her. But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
in India now, at least, I would imagine that in many police stations they may have, uh, you know, police women who may be a little more, may be able to get victims talk a little bit more. Maybe, I don't know,
they
but
have a women's cell in India, who try to get into it, but then it is always a women's prerogative to talk, right? Very often women do not do so because they do not have the support of their families, and they are very afraid. So it comes down, it boils down to the same thing. I mean, they will not talk unless and until they are ready to do so. They are willing to go ahead with
right,
whatever percussions might be.
right. So I think after this question, it seems he doesn't have background of the book. So basically, the book Carl used to work in the Citygate bookshop, and his job used to be delivering books to customers of the bookshop. And he used to follow a particular routine. He had set customers, and as I said, he used to uh, have names for all his customers based on the character they reminded him of, right? So, like Darcy is a character from Pride and Prejudice, which is Jane Austen's book. So, that's what we were seeing. Then one day, a small girl who's under 10 years old, who says her name is Shaska, joins him, and he uh, doesn't want her. He's happy in his own life by himself. He lives alone. He's happy with his life. And, he's very, very he's content. And then Shaska just insists on accompanying him, and he's not able to stop her. And then she starts talking to his customers and doing things that he can't dream of, like darting and running into their houses and things like that. But she's actually very intelligent girl, and has the ability to relate with people and understand how they're thinking, how they're feeling, and she's very observant. And slowly in the story we start to see that Carl becomes fond of her, and they actually become friends. So Carl is like a 70-year-old person, right? And she is like under 10 years old, but now Carl becomes fairly fond of her. So that's why he is hunting when she stops coming, right? And we know that she's stopped coming because uh, father found out what she was doing and stopped her, said her she's not to come. On the other side, what's happened is that his friend who used to run the bookshop, and he had given his daughter to run the bookshop, passes away. And one day, the daughter not, doesn't come across as somebody who's fond of him or wants to have anything to do with him for various reasons. And one day he gets fired. So that's also happened. Then he's selling his own books to continue to give books to customers. That's a little bit of a summary of the book so far. I hope it helps, Chris. Okay, so the other thing we came across was Saint Martin and Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas is fairly famous. Anybody? Saint Nicholas. Why is Saint Nicholas famous? Saint Nicholas. Can you think of another something to do with Christmas which sounds similar? Yes, Rajesh. You have to unmute yourself, Rajesh. Rajesh, your hand is up, but you have to unmute yourself. Anybody? Something to do with Christmas. Big hint. Saint Nicholas is actually Sinterklaas in Dutch. And when the Dutch went to the US, and then eventually Sinterklaas became what? Now you should be able to guess.
So he was a Christian saint who inspired what we call the legend of the Santa Claus, I guess.
Yes, Santa Claus is famous, right? You're not all familiar with Santa Claus?
Yes, sir.
Santa Claus, famous, not famous? What does Santa Claus look like? What does Santa Claus wear? Whenever you see Santa Claus, what color? Red, yes. And what is Santa Claus doing when Santa Claus comes? What does Santa Claus do?
Sir, he
Yes,
distributed
huge.
gifts.
Say that again, Virat.
Sir, he distribute gifts.
Yes, yes, yes. Distribution of gifts, right? So that's what, since Santa Claus came from Saint Nicholas, right? Okay, so this, we've come across the sister who's a saint, sorry, who's a nun. So we talked to Saint Nicholas, Saint Martin. Can you think of an Indian who's been made a saint? An Indian. Yes, thank you, Tanmay. An Indian who has been made a saint. Can you think of anybody? Or used to live in India, let's put it that way. Used to live in India and has been made a saint. Also got the Bharat Ratna. There are a few Indians who've been made saints. No, Jawaharlal Nehru not been made a saint.
It's
No.
we should tell him Mother Teresa. How many of y'all have heard of her?
Maybe they have. Yes, Aditya, Mother Teresa. But Meenakshi ma'am is asking a good question. Have you all heard of Mother Teresa? Yeah, maybe before their time.
A
Yes.
little before the time, but she worked very hard. I mean, with all sorts of people I mean, people who were old and they were homeless, children who had been abandoned, people who were sick and they had been thrown out of their homes, and she took care of all of them, and that is the
Yeah.
reason why she was given sainthood. So in Calcutta, she basically stayed in Calcutta, Kolkata, as you all say it now. Nowadays, there are many homes for for different types, like for the old, for an orphanage, for the sick, and they're still running. Okay, so this is what she.
Yes, thank you, Manisha, Meenakshi ma'am. So we, just before Effi opened the door, she wore what I think was called high heel pumps, right? So I found out a very interesting thing about high heels. Okay, high heels were actually invented for men. Okay, can you believe that? High heels were actually invented for men.
Yeah.
So you may want to research that, right, as to why they were invented for men. But I found it very, very intriguing, right, that they were invented for men. Okay, so let me now try and find where we were. Okay. 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 Okay, we can maybe repeat something. And Effie did just that. Sister Amaryllis holding her hand, it was easy. Carl and Shascha fell in step with them, and Effie began to walk faster, glancing anxiously over her shoulder. But the door remained closed. When they had finally turned the street corner, she took a deep breath and noticed her racing pulse for the first time. Effie smiled, and the smile was genuine. She could feel she was using completely different muscles for it. Sister Amaryllis explained to her in calm tones that they would go into the convent and where she would be safe, that she could find peace there. She didn't need to believe in God. It was entirely sufficient that God believed in her. Two corners farther on, the convent appeared ahead of them. Red and white tape was stretched across the entrance, and a building works sign had been placed in front. A workman was installing a new lock. All done, he said as they reached him. He gave Sister Amaryllis a nod of greeting. Sorry, just doing my job. How did you know I wasn't there anymore? The nun's voice was composed. The workman pointed to a small camera attached to the building opposite. The archdiocese, the archdiocese had paid him good money to drop everything and turn out the moment the sister left the convent. Okay, archdiocese is the area which a bishop looks after, and bishop is just one level above the priest. Many priests work under a bishop. The workman had paid a student to monitor any movement at night, although the young man had only kept watch for the first and last hour and spent the rest of the time asleep. What about my things? Asked Sister Amaranth. My clothes, and what about my plants? They need watering or they will wilt. Asked the archdiocese. I'll be taking the new keys to them now, as I know the refurbishment will start as soon as possible. It will be converted into exclusive apartments. Like I said, I am sorry, but there's nothing I can do. Yes, there is. You could let me back in. He shook his head. There's too much risk. You'd stay in there. I have to go. Have a good. He didn't bother to finish the sentence. Carl, Shascha, Effie, and Sister Amaryllis looked at one another. Then we'll go to a hotel, said the nun decisively. A convent is not a building, a convent is the people. We shall be a convent, a room 27, or whatever other number we may be given. She had to keep moving. Coming to a halt felt like a new prison. Effie felt the same. Maybe it's for the best, said Sister Anne. Your husband is bound to suspect you're the Benedictine priority after my appearance at your door. He wouldn't think to look for you in a hotel. What divine providence that I couldn't get back in. Okay? Divine is related to God, providence is luck. If she said it often enough, perhaps she would believe it. That had a lot of practice. She had a lot of practice in believing. It wasn't as easy as people thought. Belief took a lot of effort. Every day, given that real life had a tendency to contradict belief. As they walked, Sister Amaryllis and Effie swung their hands, their fingers intertwined, like children on the way to school. Effie, in particular, enjoyed the lightness of it. It stood in such stark contrast to what had happened earlier. Mr. Darcy's villa appeared on their left. Of all his many windows, light shone from a single one, hemmed in by the darkness of others. Wait, said Carl, perhaps there's another way. He gave Shascha a questioning look, and she gave him a thumbs up. It was only a few paces to the door, but Carl used each one to compose the words that would take Mr. Darcy by hand and lead him with every syllable to the decision to take these two women into their house. It was important to formulate them very precisely. Darcy was still very much a solitary man and undoubtedly easily overwhelmed. As the door opened, Carl removed his hat, as was, as was appropriate for a supplicant. What is a supplicant? Supplicant is somebody who's asking for something. The sudden exposure to sunlight and fresh air made the skin on his head twitch in confusion. Mr. Von Hornhesch, he began. So that's Darcy's real name. I'm so sorry to disturb you, but here's your book club, Shascha interrupted. They'll live with you from now on because they have nowhere else to go. You've got enough room and they're both super nice. So all the preparation of Carl to write words, he didn't need them, right? Shascha just did it. Mr. Darcy hesitated for a moment, then opened the door wide in invitation. So, Akrit, one thing I forgot to tell you was that, Carl used to always take books to his customers, which the customers had wanted. So, for example, Effi would always want very sad books. So, he'd always take her all tragedies, right? And Shascha told him one day that actually what he should be doing is the opposite because Shascha is sad. Need to give her something which makes her happy. So she actually, out of her own pocket money, she took uh, Effi a book of jokes, and Effi really liked it. She took Mr. Darcy, a book on carpentry, and in the last session we read that Mr. Darcy actually used it. He's made a bookshelf and he started keeping the books. Earlier, he used to not keep the books. So now he's made a bookshelf and he's keeping the book. So her concept was that you should do something to help, and that's what in the beginning Carl said no, but I think he thought about it and then he also started to do things to help people. So now this is the phase now where he's starting to do something for all his customers. And we saw earlier that he did it with Hercules, he did it with Mr. Longstocking, he's done it with the reader at the cigar factory, and so that's what's happening now. So it's a different phase, in terms of what in his life and what is making him feel because he's now, I think it gives him more energy when he's doing good. They all sat together a long time in the large living room. Mr. Darcy attempted to cook something for his guests, but even fried eggs with fried potatoes have huge potential to go horribly wrong. At least he now knew his smoke alarm was functioning faultless. The villa had so many guest rooms that the two new arrivals struggled to choose. They finally decided on two adjoining rooms with a view of the grounds, which Sister Amaryllis declared offered the perfect conditions for the cultivation of potatoes and radishes. Carl and Shascha parted ways at Munsterplatz with a long hug and a promise to meet the following day. The following evening, she didn't appear. This time, Carl wasn't worried. He told himself she was a child and children were capricious by nature. Okay, what is capricious? Children are capricious by nature, the author says. What is capricious? Okay, what is capricious?
Sir, changing behavior suddenly in a way that is difficult to
Predict.
Yes, sir.
Predict. Yes, Right, absolutely. That's what it is. So, and why is it that they say children are like that? Why do they say children are like that? So now the reason children are like that the part of the brain which controls decision making is called the prefrontal cortex. That prefrontal cortex only gets fully developed by 20 when you're 25 years old or so. So uh, that part of the brain is not that developed in children, and that's the reason this happens. So it's a natural thing, nothing to worry about, but it's natural, right? And we started to see how it started to grow when Tika ma'am had come, and that's one of the things that starts to happen in puberty, right? You had to let them do their own thing and show them some understanding. It was a shame she had chosen not to come today, as he had brought a book for her Simon and was keen to deliver it together with her, but it could wait for another day. In a break from his usual routine, he didn't go to Mr. Darcy first. He wanted to make that stop the high point of the day. As he approached the dark alley that was a shortcut, Carl mulled over how good it had been to tread completely new paths over the past few days. Right? So this is what he's thinking about. How he's starting to do good for people. That's what he's thinking about. Perhaps life was telling him he should continue because he's feeling good, right? He should step into he should step into the alley that had always struck such fear in his heart. All would be well. Carl took a deep breath. Everything in his life would be well. He had no idea, since he had emptied his final shelf that day. Not a single book had remained to live with him. But he had packed the final volume into the removable box for the antiquarian bookshop with a light heart. He would find a way, he was certain. Effie didn't believe in one, nor had Sister Amaryllis. Hercules even less so. But even when the situation seemed hopeless, everything could turn around in a moment. He held on to that hope. The alley in front of him was narrow and dark, an old path for an old man, thought Carl, and had to smile. At the end of it, he would walk into light that felt all that brighter. It would have been nice to have Dog beside him, but the cat was probably reveling in the luxurious accommodation at Dr. Foster's home. The academic undoubtedly still had no idea he had fostered one of the quadrupeds he so feared. Quadrupeds, four-legged animals. In a city he knew like the back of his hand, stepping into the one alley he had never passed through, walking on the only cobblestones he had never trod, was a peculiar feeling. It was like discovering a secret room in his old house. Carl looked around like a tourist. Each windowsill, every drain pipe fascinated him. Everything seemed beautiful to him, despite the wan light. Wan is dim. Today he had gifted himself this alley. Steps approached him from behind. As Carl turned around, he saw a figure step out of the shadows. Carl recognized him. It was the man who had been arguing with Sabine Gruber at the city bookshop the night he had been fired. Now the man was standing right in front of him. He gave Carl's shoulder a hefty push. Leave my daughter alone. You hear me? Carl was confused. Who do you mean? Effie? Don't make out you're stupid. You know exactly who I mean. Charlotte is my daughter. She spends time with me. She's pushed him again. And Carl stumbled back a few steps. She's helping me. She shouldn't be helping you. She should be staying at home and doing her homework, not trailing through the city with a cracked old man like you, or getting into a cigar factory. She's still a child, for God's sake. For the last time, leave my daughter alone. Is that clear? He pushed Carl again, this time firmly in the chest. Carl was familiar with violence, of course. He had observed the bloody deeds of Jack the Ripper in London's East End, had flown in the Belle UH Iroquois over skirmishes in Mekong Delta, had fought helm deep against Saruman's orc armies, side by side with Arminius against the troops of Publius Quinctilius Varus in the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. He had even watched Fat Man, the atom bomb, explode over Nagasaki, and been had present as the Trisolarans had almost succeeded in vanquishing the entire united fleet of the human race with a single unmanned probe. Nisha, I'm just rushing ahead. I just want to finish it. Just a page left. To Carl, violence was something he read about, not something he experienced. He had never learned how to react to violence. Books were his answer to everything. I've just, I've just the novel for you. It's quite wonderful. Carl took off his backpack, untied it quickly, and delved inside. He would give Shaska's father the book he had intended for Simon. It was about a formidable, headstrong, adventurous girl. It would help her father understand what an incredible daughter he had and how he shouldn't shut her away in an apartment. The book was wrapped in dinosaur print gift paper. Why do you hang around outside my Why did you hang around outside my daughter's school? Did you think I wouldn't hear about it? Another push. Harder this time. Carl lost his balance. Carl put the book in the man's coat pocket. Did you push me? Did you just push me? You bastard! Don't you dare push me! He was breathing heavily. Tiny blood vessels had burst in his eyes. Carl thought he could see a tear, but couldn't figure out why. He didn't understand that before him stood a desperate father, filled with the fear of losing his daughter, or that he had perhaps already done so. A man who was not just shouting at Carl, but at the whole damn world that had allowed this to happen. He reminded Carl of Schiller's robber chief Karl Moor, an honest captain who became a criminal and commits terrible atrocities. Fear began to blossom in Carl. I'll, if I see you one more time with my daughter, I will kill you. Have you got that? But, began Carl. He wanted to explain how much good Shascha had done, but she was smarter than a whole reference section, that she could draw bookworms and dogs that are cats, wanted to tell of how she could improvise in cigar factories and run into villas so fast no one could catch her. But Carl didn't get the chance. Shaska's father pushed him with both hands, with full force against his chest. This was a completely new form of push. It turned the world upside down. The evening sky was no longer above him, the ground no longer beneath him. He felt the cobblestones crash into his back like cannonballs, the final one connecting with his head. What little light there was in the alley blinked out. Okay, so sorry, I went very fast over the last part and we can talk about it next time. So I just wanted to make sure that we, cover enough of the story because the past have been not covering enough part of the story. So Asta, yeah, high heel shoes were meant for men for riding. Okay, Nisha, over to you unless there is a question. Okay, Manisha, over to you.
So actually, the chapter is very small. I want to introduce the book today. So, do you wish to show what they have done as a reflection?
Yeah, sure. Then we can take a few questions as well. Akrit wants to know what is the uh, meaning of formidable. Who will help him with the word meaning of the word formidable?
Pardon?
Formidable.
Yeah. So, do you
What
wish
is
to answer this?
what's an easy way to find out meanings that you don't know? What is an easy way? My daughter taught me this a few years ago. I follow this religiously, and Sandeep keeps joking about it because I keep saying, Google it.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how we grew up without Google, but it's like a serious boon now. So anything after just feel free. Or you may have a dictionary, right? So you can look at a dictionary, which is what
Sir,
we used to do.
sir, can I answer?
Yes, please.
Having finally decided to do something or to succeed, even if it is difficulty.
And this you're saying for, just say that again. This is formidable, you're saying. Rajesh, was that, what is the meaning for what is the meaning for?
Sir, determined.
Determined. No, formidable is what he's asking. That's why I was confused. Yeah, formidable is what he's asking now. Formidable. Okay, so while you hunt for that, let's see that. So we had great reflections on the session with Amardeep last time, and this is from Gulabi in Graveen School, who's done a lot of research and separated out all the four udasis of Guru Nanak and listed out some of the key teachings, right? समानता और भाईचारा, मानवता की सेवा, विनम्रता और help me Manisha, सह, what is this word? What is this word? सह,
Sir?
विनम्रता और सह क्षमता. What does that mean?
Sahishnutta.
What does that mean?
I have to Google now.
Tolerance, maybe.
Yeah, kind of.
Adhyatmic Gyan, right? So those are the things that, Guru Nanak preached, right? And Nancy also has written a small blog, and let me attempt it and improve my Hindi as well. Guru Nanak Dev Ji के अनुसार सुख दुख जीवन के दो अनिवार्य पहलू हैं और मनुष्य को दोनों में समान भाव से रहना चाहिए. ना तो दुख सुख में अहंकारी होना चाहिए और ना दुख में मोहित. इसका अर्थ है कि सच्चा व्यक्ति वह है जो हर परिस्थिति में संभाव रखता है, सुख दुख से प्रभावित हुए बिना और मोह माया से परे होता है, जो उसे ईश्वर के अधिक निकट ले जाता है. दुख में घबराए नहीं और सभी परिस्थितियों से ईश्वर की रजा में खुश रहे. Okay, sorry for that torturous reading, but today we read about the nun, right, sister. Did you notice how she was able to stay calm in spite of such a difficult situation of losing her house, and how she was able to make quick decisions? right? I mean, to me, it seemed that she is following exactly this, right? Dukh, dukh, she is able to deal with both in the same manner, right? I mean, imagine losing your house and what was her reaction, right? Let's move on to the next part of our life, right? Okay, I didn't ask actually. Maybe Nancy was there and wants to read this. सीमा आप हैं पढ़ना चाहेंगे सीमा आप पढ़ना चाहेंगे आपने क्या लिखा है क्या
Seema is
कोई और
not
पढ़ना
there.
कोई और
Seema
पढ़ना
is there.
चाहेगा
Seema, do you want to read your blog? I have unmuted.
anybody else who wants to read
Asta. Yes, Asta.
okay please go ahead
गुरु नानक देव जी अपनी शिक्षिकाओं से और जीवन से ईश्वर की एकता और मानवता की अखंडता पर जोर दिया। गुरु नानक देव जी ने यह सिखाया कि सुख और दुख जीवन के स्वाभाविक नियम हैं, जो ये हुक्म और ईश्वरीय आज्ञा के समान है, जो आते जाते रहते हैं।
thank you Asta you read much better than I do okay now this is from Lotus Petal the earlier ones were from Sunbeam Brahmin and this is around the other aspect that we read about we saw last time and heard last time about women's empowerment, right? This is the part that which Saraswati has written about. Is very powerful thoughts, and Amardeep said that you know people are talking about all this in the last few years, right? And I was thinking about this uh, little earlier. You know, I mean, I forget exactly when women were allowed to vote in the Western world, which was supposed they're supposed to be the beacons of democracy. But I think if I remember right, it was after the Second World War, right? So this is like late 90s that they're saying, okay, oh, no, sorry, the late 1940s or 50s or whatever, something like that. And you can Google it as when women were first allowed to vote, that women were seen as equal in society, right? So they're allowed to vote. And obviously, as we know, it's still a struggle in many places, right? I mean, I have in my I have seen that two places I know where women were not allowed, right? One was the long room in Lords, which happened a few years ago, and there was a club in Calcutta, I remember, where women were not allowed in a certain place of that club, right? Which also they're now allowed. So I mean, I've seen how these things have unfolded, and so it was the point Amardeep made that was really well ahead of time that Guru Nanak was talking about the equality of women as well. Right? Somebody want to read this? Adarsh, is Adarsh here?
Yes, sir.
Adarsh wants to read this. Adarsh, are you here? Do you want to read? Otherwise, Rajesh is going to do this.
Sir, may I read?
Who's that?
Sir, Tanmay.
Okay, Tanmay, go for it.
I watched episode 22 of Allegory, a transparency of Guru Nanak's travel, and I found it very peaceful and meaningful. The video showed how Guru Nanak Dev Ji traveled to many places to spread the message of truth, love, and equality. I learned that Guru Nanak Dev Ji believed that there is only one God and that everyone is equal. He taught people to be kind, honest, and helpful to others. The video, music, and senses scenes were very calming and made me feel and calming and made me feel close to his teachings. This episode inspired me to always speak the truth, help others, and respect everyone. It gave a strong message that goodness and peace make the world beautiful.
Thank you, Tanmay. So, when you read, I mean, what is the purpose of a comma and a full stop when you're reading? You have to give a little bit of a pause, huh? Tanmay?
Yes.
Give it a little
Yes,
bit of a
sir.
pause. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, who
Janvi,
wants?
you want to read next?
Sir, can I read?
Yeah, sure. Whoever, I can't see right now who it is, but go for it.
We learned about Guru Nanak Dev Ji travels to. Sir, this is not clear.
We
We
learned
learned
about Guru
about
Nanak
Guru
Dev's travel
Nanak
to
Dev Ji
Afghanistan and
traveled to
Pakistan.
Afghanistan and Pakistan. He visited many towns and villages to teach people about love, peace, and equality. These travels help us understand our history and the culture of those places. We also learn how a team is making a film about his journeys. They talked about choosing locations, using cameras, and showing the important events of his life. Even though some places were hard to reach, the team worked patiently to share Guru Nanak's teaching with the world.
Thank you, Janvi, and Avni. I think you were here. I don't know why you didn't volunteer to read, but ideally that's what one would want, right? But well done, Janvi. Okay, I think that's okay. There's one more. Akrit, you're here. You want to read what you wrote? Akrit,
Sir, may I read?
So,
wait,
can I read?
Sir, can I read?
hang on. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. If Akrit is here and he wants to read, get Akrit to read. Otherwise, we'll get somebody else who hasn't read so far. Akrit, you want to read?
No.
Sir, Akrit is not here. Can I read?
Oh, okay. Okay, he's
Can I
Episode
read?
asking questions.
22 of Allegory, a, a tapestry of Guru Nanak's travels. He didn't travel to different places. He connects with people and taught how to be kind, hardworking, and helpful to others. Guru Nanak Ji traveled to different spiritual sites in Afghanistan. He always tried to spread peace and harmony.
Okay, thank you. Now it stopped moving anymore for me. So I think
Yeah.
that was the last one.
Something over here. Just add, he just didn't travel to different places. He just didn't travel, not didn't travel. He did travel. So add a word just in between, and then he connected to people and taught how to be kind.
Yeah,
So that will
correct,
make it more.
correct. Okay, Manisha.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so before I start, I would request all of you to let me know whose picture is this. Can you all see my
Ruskin Bond,
screen?
I guess.
Wow, that's wonderful. Who is this?
Astha.
Lovely, Asta. So, as you all know, my next book is on. Can you see the book?
No, ma'am.
You
No, we
cannot
can
see?
still see the picture. We can see you're showing it in the, yeah.
Yes, Ifra?
No.
You have to bring it in front, little more in front of your face because yes, we can sort of see it depending on, it's a very small screen, right? So,
Okay, so my next book is on Ruskin Bond, and as I've told you before, we are not going to screen share because I want you all to understand the power of listening skills. जब हम सुनते हैं तब हम ज्यादा अच्छे से समझते हैं और स्क्रीन पे कुछ होने से हम थोड़ा इधर उधर सोचने लगते हैं समझते नहीं है सो इन द मॉर्निंग आई थिंक आई हैव शेयर्ड अ मैसेज जिसमें लिखा था कि आप अपने नोटबुक्स के साथ बैठिए बुक पेंसिल के साथ सो दैट यू कैन जॉट डाउन सम पॉइंट्स जो आपको अच्छा लगा कोई फ्रेज या कोई पॉइंट जिससे आपको इजी रहेगा आज का रिफ्लेक्शन लिखना so with that note I have a little quiz prepared for you so that we can understand who Ruskin Bond was. So the first question, Ruskin Bond is, you all can read this. So which language was he writing mostly?
English.
Ma'am, English.
Ma'am,
Okay.
English.
Is that correct?
Ma'am, English.
I'm English.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So where was Ruskin born? कहाँ born हुए थे वो? Any idea?
Bond was born in Kasoli. I
Who was
guess.
this? The voice is not clear. Okay. All right. Pause. Which of the following is Ruskin Bond's first novel?
Masuri.
No, he was born in Kasoli and not Missouri. Which I have marked the answer here. So, which of the following is Ruskin Bond's first novel?
The room on the roof.
From the room
The room on the
roof.
roof.
The Room on the Roof.
Roof.
Ruskin Bond received the Sahitya Academy Award for which book? Which out of the four? Yes, Ifra, sorry. You want to answer?
Ma'am, can I?
Yes.
Our trees still grow in Dera.
Wonderful.
Our trees grow in there.
Lovely. So, what is the name of the young boy in many of the Bond stories? Did you read this book?
It was Rusty, ma'am.
Are you sure?
Rusty.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So that's Rusty. Wait, give me a minute. In which Indian state does Ruskin Bond live now?
In which Indian state does Ruskin Bond live now? Ma'am, Uttarakhand.
Lovely. So you all are Googling or you know the answer? आपको आंसर पता है कि गूगल कर रहे हैं?
That was a bit fast to be able to Google, I think.
Okay, which of the following film is based on Ruskin Bond's story, A Flight of Pigeons?
Ma'am, I think the blue umbrella.
Okay, somebody else?
Ma'am, Junoon.
That's correct. Ifra, you're not answering, your hands are up. Okay, which award did Ruskin Bond receive in 1999? Prakash, please. Okay, let me see who's this.
Ma'am, Padma Shri.
Okay, somebody else?
Ma'am, Sahitya Academy Fellowship.
Padma.
Ma'am, Padma Shri.
Ma'am, Padma Shri.
Ma'am, Padma
Jugdeep,
Shri.
over to you.
I Googled it, Padma Shri.
Yes, it's Padma Shri. Okay. Which of the following theme is most common in Ruskin Bond's writing?
Nature and childhood.
Wonderful.
Nature and childhood.
Nature and childhood.
Correct. It's nature and childhood. Okay. Next, last question. Ruskin Bond's writing style is best described as
Simple and descriptive.
correct. Why do you think his language was simple and descriptive? What
Because
was the main reason?
his most of the stories, novels are so much descriptive so that we can imagine them. We have a vivid visualization of what he wrote.
Okay. And what was the reason? For whom he was writing books?
Ma'am, for children.
Children.
Yes. So if we are going to write something for children and the words are very complex and symbolic, will you be able to understand?
No, ma'am.
Yes. So this was the main reason. His books were mostly on simple and it was very simple language also. So can anyone let me know why I have taken a little quiz for you?
Ma'am, to know more about Ruskin Bond.
And why out of everything I want you to know about Ruskin Bond? What was the main reason?
Ma'am, because you are going to read the book of Ruskin Bond.
Exactly. So I want you all to feel connected with Ruskin Bond and why he was writing all the stories, because we are having many chapters, many short stories in this book. I have 16 chapters. So it will take a couple of months to complete this, one chapter at one time. और मैंने आप सबको बोला है कि हम इस बार बुक को क्या नहीं करेंगे, स्क्रीन पे नहीं दिखाएंगे। तो चूंकि हम स्क्रीन पे नहीं दिखाएंगे तो आपको पता होना चाहिए रस्किन बॉन्ड कौन थे, वो क्या सोचते थे। इसलिए एक छोटा सा इंट्रोडक्टरी क्विज मैंने लिया है। सो ये जो मेरा पहला चैप्टर है इसका नाम है हम चार पंखुड़ियां। पंखुड़ियां से क्या समझते हैं आप लोग? डू यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज पंखुड़ियां? Yes, Adarsh? Anyone can answer. You can type your answers.
Petals of flower.
Correct. Petals. हम चार पंखुड़ियां। तो यहाँ पे ऐसा क्यों बोला गया है, हम चार पंखुड़ियां? किसके बारे में स्टोरी हो सकती है?
Flower.
ओके, तो फ्लावर अपने बारे में बोलेंगे हम चार पंखुड़ी है।
Ma'am, maybe it would be about friends.
वाओ, इट इज अबाउट फ्रेंड्स। मैम प्लीज, तन्मय मैंने आपको अनम्यूट किया था बेटा पहले, लेट मी चेक। Those who wants to be unmuted, please raise your hand because ऐसे थोड़ा सा आपको देखना मुझे मुश्किल हो जाता है। Okay, those who have raised their hands, I have already unmuted. So ये कहानी है चार दोस्तों के बारे में, चार बच्चों के बारे में। Let's start. हमारे स्कूल की डॉर्मेट्री का कमरा बहुत लंबा था, जिसमें कि लगभग 30 चारपाई हुआ करती थी। अब डॉर्मेट्री क्या है?
A hostel's room.
वाओ, और चारपाई?
Bed.
मैम बेड।
जिसके चार पैर हो, चारपाई बेड। पहले चारपाइयां होती थी, अब आपके प्रॉपर बेड्स हो गए। यानी कि कमरे के प्रत्येक तरफ 15 चारपाई थी। यह तकिया युद्ध के लिए खास थी। तकिया युद्ध, कुछ आपको समझ में आ रहा है तकिया युद्ध क्या होता है?
यस मैम।
Do you love doing pillow fight?
Yes, ma'am.
करते हैं आप लोग?
यस मैम। पिलो फाइट।
Yes.
लवली। इस कमरे में हम जैसे छोटे लड़कों को इधर उधर लौटते पोटने, आपस में भिड़ने के लिए काफी जगह थी। तो यहाँ पे ये बताया जा रहा है कि ये जो आपका प्रॉपर डॉर्मेट्री है, यहाँ पे पिलो फाइट बहुत ज्यादा बच्चे करते थे और इधर उधर उधर लौटते फुटते रहते थे। जहां पर 5वीं कक्षा के बच्चे छठी क्लास के लड़कों के साथ गुत्तम गुत्था किया करते थे। फिर क्या था, तकिया और उसमें भरी हुई उस वक्त तक उड़ती उड़ती रहती थी जब तक कि फिशी आ गया या ओली आ गया कि जोर से आवाज नहीं आती थी। और फिर धीमे धीमे कदमों में स्कूल के हेडमास्टर श्रीमान फिशर या फिर सीनियर मास्टर श्रीमान ओलिवर अपने हाथ में छड़ी लिए मच रहे शोर शराबे को खत्म करने के लिए पहुंच जाते थे। तो यहाँ पहले फिशी और ओली बोला गया है। आपको क्या लगा फिशी और ओली क्या थे यहाँ पे?
Wardens. Ma'am, principal.
मैम टीचर्स।
तो आप लोग भी निकनेम्स देते हैं अपने टीचर्स को, अपने हाउस मास्टर्स को?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
यस मैम।
क्या क्या नाम दिया अभी तक आपने?
Ma'am, teacher.
अच्छा, कुछ निकनेम नहीं देते जैसे यहाँ पे फिशी और ओली बोला हुआ है?
But we can't tell it.
So honest, Gariba. Very good, very nice. Sorry. हालांकि
तो who
तकिए
said
से
that?
लड़ाई
किसने बोला ये? किसने कहा, नहीं बता सकते?
गरीबा,
हाँ, तो
that's
गरिमा,
wonderful.
हम जब हम भी स्कूल में थे, हम भी ये ऐसे करते थे, बताते नहीं थे ना इसके टीचर को, पर टीचर को किसी तरह पता लग जाता है। क्योंकि जैसे अब ना आरपी सर हमको पढ़ाया हुआ है, तो हमारे साथ वो काम करते हैं अब, राइट? इस माय गुड स्कूल अलायंस से हमारे चेयरमैन है। तो एक दिन मैंने उनसे पूछा था ये सवाल कि आप लोगों को पता होता था कि हम क्या निकनेम आपके लिए रखे हुए हैं टीचर्स के लिए? He said, हाँ, उन्होंने 2 4 5 6 एकदम मेरे को बता दिए। तो somehow पता चल जाता है, बट एनीवे हम नहीं बताएंगे। करेक्ट, फेयर इनफ।
जगदीप सर,
यस
तन्मय
संदीप।
ने हाथ उठाया था।
सर अभी सारे हैंड्स डाउन है।
चलो ठीक है, ओके।
हालांकि तकिए से लड़ाई करने की उस हद तक छूट थी कि हम एक दूसरे को किसी तरह से चोटिल ना करें। नेचुरली आप फाइट करिए, जितना भी फाइट करिए, बट चोट लगे तो वो थोड़ी गलत बात हो जाती है, तो चोट नहीं लगनी चाहिए। लेकिन कभी कभी जब शिक्षक छत्र के बाद कोई लड़का बिना रुई का तकिया लेकर घर पहुंचता था, तो उन बच्चों के माँ बाप स्कूल में शिकायत दर्ज करा देते थे। शिमला में प्राथमिक स्कूल के आखिरी साल में हम 4 ऐसे दोस्त थे जो कि बहुत घनिष्ठ मित्र थे। विमल का घर बॉम्बे में था, जबकि रियाज लाहौर से आया था। ब्रॉन वेलोर का रहने वाला था, और चौथा पंखुड़ी में, जो कि इस कहानी का कथाकार भी हूँ। मेरा अपना घर मेरे पिता के तबादले के अनुसार इधर उधर बदलता रहता था। यहाँ मैं यह बताना ठीक समझता हूँ कि उस वक्त मेरे पिता एयरफोर्स में नौकरी किया करते थे। हम दोस्त अपने आप को 4 पंखुड़ियां कहा करते थे। अब आपको समझ में आया 4 पंखुड़ियां यहाँ पे क्या है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Friends.
ओके, फ्रेंड्स
Ma'am,
अपने
four
आप को
friends.
पेटल से कंपेयर करते थे, तो एनी गेसेस कि वो पंखुड़ियां से ही क्यों कंपेयर कर रहे हैं? वो अपने आप को किसी और चीज से भी कंपेयर कर सकते थे।
Because, ma'am, because they are a part of a flower which are always together.
वाओ,
क्योंकि
समथिंग
वो
एल्स?
मैम क्योंकि वो हमेशा साथ रहते थे।
ओके, यहाँ पे एक आंसर आया, अटैच टुगेदर। वेरी गुड। और कोई कुछ बताना चाहेगा पंखुड़ियां ही क्यों? बेटा वन एट ए टाइम, वन एट ए टाइम ऐसे गलत है।
Ma'am, because like parts of flower, they are attached to each other. So as Ruskin Bond's friend, they were attached with each other.
ओके, नाइस। सो लेट्स सी आगे क्या है। अटैच तो इसलिए अपने आप को वो पंखुड़ियां बोलते थे बिकॉज पंखुड़ियां कोमल भी होती हैं, सुंदर भी दिखती हैं, तो वो अपने आप को अपने फ्रेंडशिप में बहुत ही सॉफ्ट हार्टेड भी मानते थे, एक दूसरे के लिए केयरिंग एंड लविंग भी मानते थे। पंखुड़ियां इस बात का प्रतीक थी कि हम चारों एक दूसरे के साहसिक कामों में, लंगोटिया यारी में, गोल मेज की शूरवीरता के साथी हुआ करते थे। विमल ने मोर के पंख को अपना प्रतीक चिन्ह बना दिया था। वह हमेशा अपने आप को कुछ ज्यादा ही दिखाया करता था। रियाज ने बाज का पंख अपने लिए चुना था, हालांकि बहुत खोजने के बाद भी हमें यह पंख नहीं मिल सका। ब्रॉन और मुझे पहले कौवा और मुर्गी के पंख से नवाजा गया, लेकिन हमने उसका पूरी तरीके से विरोध किया और इस समूह से बाहर निकलने तक की धमकी भी दे डाली। आखिर में मैं तोते के पंख से सहमत हुआ और ब्रॉन ने अपने आप को कटफोड़वा के पंख से नवाजा, जो कि उसके लिए उपयुक्त था, क्योंकि वह हमेशा इस तरह चीजों को ठोकर मारा करता था। विमल के हाथ पैर बहुत पतले थे और नाजुक थे, और कभी कभी तो ऐसा लगता था कि मानो वह हवा में चल रहा हो। हम डिज्नी फिल्म के एक किरदार छोटे मासूम हिरन के नाम पर उसे बॉम्बी पुकारा करते थे। आपने देखा ये डिज्नी वाले कैरेक्टर्स?
Yes, ma'am.
नो मैम।
बॉम्बी के देखे? ग्रेट। दूसरी तरफ रियाज देखने में डील डॉल वाला लड़का था। वह खेल में अच्छा था, पर पढ़ाई में कुछ खास नहीं था। लेकिन हाँ, उसका स्वभाव व्यावसायिक था और हमेशा मुस्कुराता रहता था। ब्रॉन दक्षिण भारत का गहरा भूरे रंग का खूबसूरत दिखाई देने वाला परंतु थोड़ा बिगड़ैल बच्चा था, जिसे क्रिकेट मैच में आउट घोषित किए जाने से नफरत थी और वह मैदान छोड़ने से इनकार कर देता था। इसके बावजूद भी वह हमारा एक प्यारा और भरोसेमंद दोस्त है। क्या आपका कोई फ्रेंड है जो कभी आउट हो जाए या किसी रीजन से आप उसको अपने ग्रुप में नहीं रखना चाहे तो वो गुस्सा हो जाता है?
यस मैम।
तो
Yes,
सबके पास
ma'am.
एक ऐसा फ्रेंड है?
Yes, ma'am.
नाइस। मैं खुद एक कथाकार था। कथाकार का क्या मतलब होता है बेटा?
स्टोरी टेलर।
नरेटर
नरेटर।
पोएट।
नरेटर
ओके ओके, वन एट ए टाइम बेटा।
मैम
जिसे
वो
उलझनों से, वेरी गुड, जिसे उलझनों से निकलने के लिए नई नई कहानियां बनाना अच्छा लगता था, परंतु गणित में असफल था। और इसका अंदाजा मेरे गणित में प्राप्त किए हुए सबसे अधिक अंक से लगाया जा सकता है, जो 100 में से मात्र 22 ही थे। 22 मतलब 22। सो ही यहाँ पे जो राइटर है वो ये बोलना चाह रहे थे कि जरूरी नहीं है कि इंग्लिश में अगर अच्छे हैं तो मैथ्स में भी अच्छे हैं, साइंस में है। वो बहुत ओपनली अपने मार्क्स को डिस्क्लोज कर रहे हैं कि मुझे 22 ही मिलता था, जबकि आई वॉज अ गुड स्टोरी टेलर। मैं बहुत अच्छे से स्टोरी सुनाता था, नैरेट भी करता था, बट मुझे नई नई कहानियां लिखनी भी पसंद थी, लेकिन मैथ्स में मेरे नंबर नहीं आते थे। रविवार दोपहर में जब हमारी कोई क्लास या तयशुदा खेल नहीं होता था, तब हमें स्कूल के नीचे की पहाड़ी पर घूमने और मस्ती करने की इजाजत मिल जाया करती थी। वहां पर हम चार पंखुड़ियां गर्मियों की छोटी छोटी घास पर लेट जाया करते थे और घर से भेजे गए खाने की चीजों को आपस में बांटकर खाया करते थे, कॉमिक्स पढ़ा करते तथा सर्दी की लंबी छुट्टियों को लेकर योजनाएं बनाया करते थे। मेरे पिताजी, जो कि मेरे लिए डाक टिकट से लेके समुद्री सीपियों तक सभी कुछ इकट्ठा किया करते थे, उन्होंने मुझे एक तितली पकड़ने वाला नेट देकर हिदायत दी कि मैं सिर्फ ऐसे दुर्लभ पाई जाने वाली तितलियों को ही पकड़ने की कोशिश करूं, जो कि सिर्फ छोटे शिमला के आसपास ही पाई जाती थी। उन्होंने उसके बारे में बताया कि यह एक बड़ी बेगानी तितली थी जिसका पंख लीला और बॉर्डर काले रंग का था। मेरे ख्याल से उसे पर्पल एम्परर कहा जाता था। चूंकि मुझे बहुत बेहतर तरीके से तितलियों को पहचानना नहीं आता था, इसलिए मैं किसी भी तितली को पकड़ने के लिए उसके पीछे पड़ जाता था, फिर चाहे वह रेड एडमिरल हो या फिर क्लोडैट येलो या फिर एक कैबेज वाइट्स ही क्यों ना हो। परंतु बहुत कम पाई जाने वाली तितली पर्पल एम्परर ही संग्रहकर्ताओं की सबसे अधिक पसंदीदा तितलियों में से एक थी। अंततः यह मेरे मायावी साबित हुई। मुझे समझ में आ गया था कि मुझे अपने भाग्य की दिशा को कहीं और आजमाना होगा। यहाँ पे मैं एक पॉज लेती हूँ छोटा सा, आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी कि आपको लगता है तितली पकड़ना अच्छी हैबिट है कि खराब हैबिट है?
मैम खराब।
खराब खराब खराब
खराब।
ओके, गरिमा आपने हैंड रेज किया, आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे?
It's not a good habit.
ओके, रीजन आप लोग आंसर्स अपने चैट बॉक्स में लिख सकते हैं।
Ma'am, because as we are a living being, as well, the butterflies are also a living being, and if we try to caught them, it's a trouble for them, and it might hurt them.
ओके, और तन्मय आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे? आपने हैंड रेज किया है। आदित्य, आपने भी हैंड रेज किया है।
मैम दिस इज अ वेरी बैड हैबिट।
रीजन दीजिए बेटा, आपको
मैम
क्यों लगता है कि तितली पकड़ना अच्छा नहीं है?
मैम बिकॉज मैम सबको मैम जिंदगी जीने की फ्रीडम है।
ओके, दैट्स वंडरफुल। ओके, चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं चैप्टर में। मुझे समझ में आ गया था कि मुझे अपने भाग्य की दिशा को कहीं और आजमाना होगा। एक दिन स्कूल के नीचे की पहाड़ियों और झाड़ियों के झुरमुट में घूमते हुए मैं लगभग एक नए नवेले स्प्रूस के पेड़ के नीचे पड़ी एक छोटी सी गठरी पर जा गिरा। गठरी को करीब से देखने पर मुझे पता चला कि गठरी में एक नवजात शिशु था, जो कि पुराने फटे हुए कंबल में लिपटा हुआ था। नवजात शिशु मीन्स अ न्यूबॉर्न बेबी। मैंने जोर से चिल्लाकर अपने दोस्तों को बुलाया और कहा, यहाँ आओ और देखो, एक नवजात बच्चा यहाँ पर पड़ा हुआ है। मेरे दोस्त तुरंत उस जगह पर पहुंच गए जहां मैं मौजूद था। और फिर हम सभी उस बच्चों को जो कि सोया हुआ था टकटकी लगाकर निहारते रहे। पहाड़ी पर बच्चों को कौन छोड़ेगा? यह सवाल विमल ने किसी एक से न पूछकर हम सभी से किया था। यहाँ पे सभी सोचने लगे कि कौन नवजात शिशु को यहाँ पे छोड़ के गया है, एंड अलग अलग तरीके के आइडियाज उन सबके दिल में, मन के अंदर आने लगे। ब्रॉन ने जवाब में कहा कि यह कोई भी हो सकता है जो कि इस बच्चे को नहीं चाहता हो। रियाज ने ब्रॉन की बात को आगे बढ़ाते हुए कहा कि इस बच्चे को इस उम्मीद के साथ यहाँ छोड़ दिया गया होगा कि कोई ना कोई इंसान यहाँ से गुजरेगा और इस नवजात को देखकर इसे अपने पास रख लेगा। मैंने कहा, पर यह तो हो सकता है कि किसी इंसान के बजाय यहाँ तेंदुआ आ जाए। ना बाबा ना, हमें यहाँ की हाल में नहीं छोड़ा जा सकता। ठीक है, फिर हमें इसे अपनाना पड़ेगा और अपने साथ लेके जाना पड़ेगा, विमल ने कहा। ब्रॉन ने विरोध करते हुए कहा, हम बच्चों को नहीं अपना सकते। क्यों नहीं? ऐसा करने से पहले हमें शादी करनी होगी। हम ऐसा नहीं कर सकते हैं। बेवकूफ, हम नहीं, बल्कि कोई बड़ा इस बच्चे को गोद ले सकता है और पाल सकता है। पर इस उम्मीद पर हम इसको यहाँ पर तो नहीं छोड़ सकते हैं ना कि कोई बड़ा और यहाँ आएगा और इसे ले जाएगा। मैंने तुरंत जवाब दिया। रियाज ने कहा, हमें तो यह भी नहीं पता कि आखिर ये बच्चा लड़का है या लड़की। इससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? बच्चा तो बच्चा होता है। चलो हम इसे स्कूल लेकर चलते हैं। तो ये सारी जो कन्वर्सेशन है, ये बच्चे आपस में, जो चार पंखुड़ियां हैं, ये आपस में कर रहे हैं। और हमें अपनी डॉर्मेट्री में रख लेते हैं। बिल्कुल नहीं, इसे आखिर कौन खिलाएगा? बच्चे को दूध की जरूरत होती है। ऐसे करते हैं, हम सब बच्चों को श्रीमती फिशर को देते हैं। वैसे भी उनके पास अपना कोई बच्चा नहीं है। हो सकता है वो बच्चा नहीं चाहती हो। अरे देखो, यह रोने लगा। चलो जल्दी करते हैं। अब कुछ ऐसी चीजें कई बार आ जाती है हमारे सामने कि हम डिसाइड नहीं कर पाते कि क्या करना है। तो यहाँ पे सब बच्चे आपस में बैठ के ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग कर रहे हैं कि उन्हें क्या करना चाहिए या फिर क्या नहीं करना चाहिए। रियाज ने जागते और रो रहे बच्चे को उठाया और बिमल को दे दिया, जिससे उस बच्चे को ब्रॉन की ओर बढ़ा दिया और फिर उसने उस बच्चे को मेरी गोद में डाल दिया। इसके बाद हम चारों उस रोते हुए बच्चों के साथ पहाड़ पर चढ़ते हुए स्कूल की तरफ बढ़ने लगे। मैंने शिकायत भरे अंदाज से कहा, देखो अब इसने कंबल में पोटी कर दी है और इसके साथ कुछ छींटे मेरी शर्ट कमीज पर भी आ पड़ गए। विमल ने कहा, कोई बात नहीं, ये किसी अच्छाई के लिए हुआ है। याद रखो कि तुम एक बाल स्काउट हो। तुम्हें लोगों की तकलीफों में उनकी मदद करनी चाहिए। तो यहाँ आपस में वो डिस्कस भी कर रहे हैं, उन्हें समझ में भी नहीं आ रहा है कि क्या हो रहा है, और वो डिस्कस करते हुए, एक दूसरे से बातें करते हुए आगे जाना पसंद कर रहे हैं। जब हम स्कूल पहुंचे तो हेडमास्टर और इनकी बीवी ड्राइंग रूम में बैठकर शाम की चाय और केक का लुत्फ उठा रहे थे। हमने आहिस्ता से अपने कदमों को अंदर रखा और फिर अचानक विमल ने घोषणा करते हुए कहा, हम श्रीमती फिशर के लिए कुछ लाए हैं। मेरे हाथ में बड़ी पोटली पर श्रीमती फिशर ने नजर डालते ही चीख पड़ी, ब्रॉन, तुम यहाँ ये क्या लेकर आ गए हो? मैम, एक बच्चा है। मुझे लगता है ये एक लड़की है। क्या आप इसे पालना पसंद करेंगी? श्रीमती फिशर यह सुनकर सन्न रह गई और फिर अपने हाथों को उत्तेजना से लहराते हुए अपने पति की तरफ मुड़ी और बोली, फ्रैंक, हम क्या करें? इन बच्चों ने तो हद कर दी है। देखो, ये किसी का बच्चा उठा लाए हैं। फिशर ने टेलीफोन की ओर बढ़ते हुए कहा, हमें इसके बारे में पुलिस को सूचित करना होगा। हम स्कूल में गुमशुदा बच्चों को नहीं रख सकते। तभी हमें बाहर शोर सुनाई पड़ा और गुस्से में बदहवास औरतें, जिसके कपड़े बिखरे हुए थे, किसी एक गांव के कई आदमियों के साथ आकर गेट के अंदर दाखिल हुई। वह बदहवास दौड़ते हुए हमारे पास आकर रुकी। फिर, मेरा बच्चा, तुम लोगों ने मेरा बच्चा चुराया है, चिल्ला चिल्ला कर कहने लगी। मैंने हकलाते हुए कहा, हमें तो ये बच्चा पहाड़ी पर मिला है। ब्रॉन ने साथ देते हुए कहा, यह बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहा है, हम तो इसके रखवाले हैं। श्रीमती फिशर ने अपने हाथों को ऊपर उठाया और निहायत दोस्ताना अंदाज से गांव वासियों को संबोधित करते हुए कहा, कृपया शांत हो जाइए। इन बच्चों को ये बच्चा पहाड़ी पर अकेला पड़ा हुआ मिला था और यह इसे यहाँ ले आए इससे पहले कि इसे लकड़बग्गा उठाकर ले जाता। मैं बोल उठा, बिल्कुल ठीक ब्रॉड। और फिर फिशर ने उस औरत से पूछा, तुमने अपने बच्चे को अकेला क्यों छोड़ा था? तो कोई यहाँ पे बता सकता है कि उस औरत ने अपने बच्चे को अकेला क्यों छोड़ा? क्योंकि छोड़ देने के बाद वो फिर इन बच्चों के पीछे पीछे आ गई और क्लेम करने लगी मेरे बच्चा किडनैप हो गया। तो उसके पीछे रीजन क्या था?
मैम मुझे लगता है कि मैम वो उसके साथ कहीं जा रही होगी और उसका बच्चा उसके हाथ या फिर उससे दूर चला गया हो।
मैम वो
ओके
उसको रख के कुछ काम करने चली गई हो।
ओके।
मैम
और कोई
शायद
और?
फिर मैम उसकी मॉम
ध्यान न
ओके, ध्यान नहीं रहा, कुछ काम करनी हो उसको 2 मिनट के लिए रख दिया हो या उनके हाथ से छूट गया हो। और कोई आइडिया?
मैम शायद वो प्यासी होगी और मैम पानी पीने के लिए जा रही होगी, तब तक उसने अपना बच्चा वहां पे रख दिया होगा।
हो सकता है, क्वाइट पॉसिबल। यस तन्मय, आप कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं? गरिमा?
मैम जैसे कि आपने कहा कि वो एक नवजात बच्चा था, तो ना ही वो खुद आ पाता और उसकी माँ ने उसे, वो इतना छोटा था तो छोड़ा भी नहीं होगा कहीं। तो ऐसा हो सकता है कि वो एक लड़की थी, तो जैसे पहले लड़कियों को अपनाया नहीं जाता था, उन्हें छोड़ दिया जाता था। अगर वो नहीं चाहते, जैसे लड़कों को ज्यादा प्यार करते थे, तो शायद किसी और ने उनका बच्चा रख दिया हो और उनकी माँ बाद में उसे ढूंढते ढूंढते आई हो।
पॉसिबल हो, ये भी हो सकता है कि किसी और ने छोड़ दिया, माँ ने नहीं छोड़ा, वो ढूंढते हुए आ गई, उन्हें हिंट्स मिला हो कि ये बच्चे उठा के ले गए हैं, तो हो सकता है। चलिए देखते हैं चैप्टर में क्या हुआ। उस औरत ने कहा कि मैं 5 मिनट के लिए इसे नीचे छोड़कर आलू बुखारे के पेड़ पर उसके पत्ते तोड़ने के लिए चढ़ी थी, और फिर जब मैं नीचे उतरी तो मेरा बच्चा गायब हो चुका था। लेकिन मैं उसके रोने की आवाज पहाड़ी पर सुन सकती थी। मैंने तुरंत कुछ मर्दों को बुलाया और फिर उसे ढूंढते हुए हम यहाँ आ पहुंचे। मैंने उस बच्चे को उसकी गोद में देते हुए कहा, लो, यह है तुम्हारा बच्चा। जब तक मैं भी उस बच्चे से निजात पाने के लिए आतुर था, ये पाकर खुशी महसूस कर रहा था। मैंने आगे कहा, आगे इस बच्चे को अच्छी तरह से देखभाल करना। उसने चिल्लाकर मुझे अपहरणकर्ता घोषित कर दिया। श्रीमान फिशर किसी तरह से गांव वासियों के गुस्से को शांत करने में सफल रहे। उन्होंने उस गांव वासियों को बताया कि हम अच्छे स्काउट हैं और हम हमेशा लोगों की मदद के लिए तत्पर रहते हैं। तो ये जो आप लोग का आइडिया था, जो आप लोग सोच रहे थे और मुझे बताया, उसमें से एक तरीका एक्चुअली रीजन जो था वो सही हो गया। बच्चे को माँ ने किसी रीजन से 5 मिनट को रखा था, और जैसे कि यहाँ पे स्टोरी में बोला गया है, वह आलू बुखारा तोड़ने के लिए गई थी, और जैसे ही उसने तोड़ा, बच्चे के रोने की आवाज आई, तो वो परेशान होकर के पहुंच गई कि हाँ, अब मुझे अपने बच्चे को ढूंढना है। मैंने तुरंत श्रीमान फिशर के शब्दों को आगे बढ़ाते हुए कहा, सर, स्काउट का तीसरा नियम है कि हमेशा उपयोगी और मददगार बनो। अब चूंकि ये बच्चे स्काउट एंड गाइड की ट्रेनिंग ले रहे थे, तो सबसे उपयोगी चीज जो इन्हें लगती थी वो ये थी कि सबको के साथ दोस्त बने रहो और सबके साथ मदद करो और उनके लिए उपयोगी भी रहो। और तब हेडमास्टर जी गांव वालों की तरफ मुताबिक हुए। मैं आप लोगों को अवगत करा दूं कि वे प्लम के पेड़ स्कूल की संपत्ति है। आड़ू और खुमानी के भी पेड़ हमारे ही हैं। अब मुझे समझ में आया कि हमारे पेड़ इतनी तेजी से खत्म कैसे होते जा रहे। हेडमास्टर की नाराजगी को भाग कर आए लोगों ने थोड़ा अपमानित महसूस किया और फिर वहां से चलते बने। श्रीमान फिशर अपनी केन की तरफ बढ़े, पर जिस तरह से उन्होंने उसे सहलाया, मैं समझ गया था कि उनका हाथ हमारे पिछवाड़े पर इस्तेमाल करने के लिए ललायित है। और हमारी तरफ श्रीमती फिशर देखते हुए दखल देते हुए बोली, नहीं फ्रैंक, इन बच्चों के द्वारा उस छोटे से बच्चे की देखभाल सचमुच में एक प्यारा सा काम था। और ब्रॉन्ड को तो देखो, उसके पहले हुए कपड़े बच्चे की पोटी से भरे हुए हैं, बिल्कुल पूरी तरीके से सना हुआ था। तुम सभी जाओ और जाकर नहाओ। तुम किस बात पर मुस्कुरा रहे हो ब्रॉन्ड? स्काउट कानून नंबर 8 के तहत सर, एक स्काउट सभी मुश्किलों के दौरान मुस्कुराता और सीटी बजाता है। और इस तरह से 4 पंखुड़ियों के पहले साहसिक काम का अंत हुआ। तो विद दिस ये वाला चैप्टर जो है हमारा एंड हो गया। तो इस कहानी से हम सबको क्या शिक्षा मिली?
मैम हमें सबकी मदद करनी चाहिए और
ओके
मैम हमको सबकी मदद करनी चाहिए और एकता में रहना
बेटा,
चाहिए।
वन एट ए
हमें
टाइम,
मदद
वन एट
करनी
ए
चाहिए
टाइम।
ताकि वही मदद हमें वापस।
हमें सबकी मदद करनी चाहिए। और कुछ सीखा हमने?
मैम हमें हमें हमेशा एकता में रहना चाहिए।
हमें एकता में रहना चाहिए। और
मैम हमें बिना कुछ सोचे कोई भी चीज उठा नहीं लेनी चाहिए।
परफेक्ट।
मैम हमेशा
हमें
सावधानी पूर्वक रहना चाहिए।
हमें सबसे पहले ये देखना चाहिए कि एक्चुअली जो हम सोच रहे हैं वो करेक्ट है कि नहीं। तो थोड़ी देर रुक के आगे पीछे देखना चाहिए, आवाजें लगाना चाहिए, चारों तरफ से जानकारी भी लेना चाहिए।
या फिर मैम किसी बड़े को आसपास देख के उनको बुला के उनसे उनकी हेल्प ले।
परफेक्ट। तो किसी बड़े को भी हम बुला के मदद ले सकते हैं। बच्चे जो है बहुत प्यारे होते हैं, बहुत ही स्वीट होते हैं, बट एट द सेम टाइम कई बार वो डिसीजन गलत भी ले सकते हैं। तो इस यहाँ से हम दो चीजें सीखते हैं। एक, मदद तो जरूर करनी चाहिए, हेल्पफुल हमेशा होना चाहिए, बट सेकेंडली एट द सेम टाइम जल्दीबाजी में कोई डिसीजन नहीं लेना चाहिए। हमें हमेशा तब सोच समझ कर डिसीजन लेना चाहिए।
मैम ये भी हो सकता है क्या पता मैम वो बच्चा किसी ने किसी का चोरी करके उधर रखा हो।
वो भी पॉसिबल है कि एक्चुअली चोरी करके रख दिया और आप लेके गए तो चोरी का इल्जाम आ गया, आया भी उस पे स्टोरी पे किडनैपिंग का। तो यस, सोच समझ के डिसीजन लीजिए, प्यार से रहिए, झगड़ा भी करिए, पिलो फाइट भी करिए, बट एट द एंड चोट नहीं लगनी चाहिए। यस आस्था?
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yeah,
That
please.
Ruskin Bond usually write his book in English language, right? So this book was written by him or it was a Hindi translation of his book?
It is the Hindi translation of the book.
Okay, ma'am.
और कोई कुछ पूछना चाहेगा?
नो मैम।
ओके, सो आई एक्सपेक्ट कि आप अपने राइटर्स, अपने रिफ्लेक्शन इस बुक के बारे में या इस चैप्टर के बारे में, क्या आपने सीखा, क्या होना चाहिए, क्या नहीं होना चाहिए। अगर आप चाहो तो इस स्टोरी को एक नया मोड़ भी दे सकते हो, इस स्टोरी को आप रीराइट भी कर सकते हो अपने तरीके से कि ये हो सकता था, परेशान हो सकते थे। अभी तो गांव वाले क्या है, चुपचाप हमारे प्रिंसिपल सर की बात सुन के चले गए, पर अगर वो नहीं सुनते, झगड़ा करते या कुछ और परेशानी करते, तब 4 पंखुड़ियों को क्या करना चाहिए था? वो सही थे कि वो गलत थे? जो भी आपके आइडियाज दिमाग में आ रहे हैं उसको प्लीज राइट इट डाउन and send it back to me so that I can get it published. Like we can put it on our website. So thank you for this. Over to Sandeep sir.
जुगदीप सर, आज तो रिफ्लेक्शन कमाल के आए। ये सारे कहानीकार बन गए। कैसे सबने सोचा कि ये बच्चा कहाँ था, क्यों मिला। मैंने सबकी कहानी सुनी तो मैंने कहा इससे अच्छे रिफ्लेक्शन और कहाँ मिल सकते हैं। और ये सारे रिफ्लेक्शन वीडियो में कैप्चर हो जाते हैं। सो मनीषा जी, मैं ये सोच रहा था कि जैसे आप कहते हो जॉय ऑफ लर्निंग डायरीज में हम ये रिफ्लेक्शन पेश करते हैं, तो अगर आज कुछ लोग एक या दो पंक्तियां आपके पास भेजना चाहें, आप उन्हें इकट्ठा कर ले। हम इस वीडियो को एम्बेड कर देंगे जॉय ऑफ लर्निंग डायरीज में और नीचे रिफ्लेक्शन लिख देंगे। उससे
Perfect.
क्या होगा, जो रिफ्लेक्शन हमने यहाँ सुने वो कैप्चर हो जाएंगे। बिकॉज अभी क्या हुआ, वो रिफ्लेक्शन कैप्चर नहीं हुए जो हमने यहाँ लिखे। अभी बच्चों ने बोला और चले गए। और ये हमारे लिए फेयर नहीं है कि हम चाहें कि हर एक को लिख के आपको भेजे। अब मैं कैसे आपको ईमेल करूं? मैं तो ईमेल कर ही नहीं सकता। मेरे को आज पापा का फोन मिला आधे घंटे के लिए आपकी कहानी सुनने के लिए, उसके बाद दोबारा तो मिलेगा नहीं ना। मुझे पापा व्हाट्सएप करने देंगे, मम्मी अपना फोन लेके चली जाएंगी, तो मैं आपको कैसे भेजूंगा संदेश? तो ये जो
आप लोग अभी
रिफ्लेक्शन,
चैट बॉक्स पे लिख सकते हैं अपने रिफ्लेक्शंस, मैं यहाँ से ले लूंगी अगर आपको कुछ थोड़ी सी परेशानी हो रही है। आप चैट बॉक्स में 2-3 सेंटेंसेस जो भी है स्टोरी के ऊपर में अभी लिख सकते हैं।
अभी हमारे पास 2-3 मिनट हैं, जब तक हम बातचीत कर रहे हैं आप चैट बॉक्स में लिख दें, वो मैम ने बहुत अच्छा आइडिया दिया। और अगर आपके पास व्हाट्सएप एक्सेस नहीं है, आप यहाँ लिख दें। तो इसलिए जब मैम बात कर रही होती हैं, जब जुगजीत सर कुछ बोल रहे होते हैं, आपके मन में कुछ भी आता है चैट बॉक्स में लिख दें। कुछ लोगों ने लिखा, सवाल जवाब हैं, परंतु वो रिफ्लेक्शन नहीं है पूरा। जैसे किसी ने कहा कि वो बच्चा चुरा हुआ था, या किसी ने कहा कि वो अनवांटेड गर्ल चाइल्ड था। ये बड़े बड़े क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग वाले सवाल हैं जुगजीत सर। ऐसे सोचना बच्चों के लिए बहुत मायने रखता है। क्लास 3, 5, 6, 7 के बच्चे हैं और इतना डीप सोच सकते हैं, इसके लिए तो हम इनके ग्रेटफुल हैं। और ये थिंकर्स हैं एब्सोल्युटली, जो ऐसी कहानी सोच रहे हैं और ऐसी कहानी का अंजाम निकाल रहे हैं। और आपने बहुत अच्छा कहा मनीषा जी कि ये कहानियां जो बता रहे हैं, हमें ये कहानी रिकॉर्ड करनी चाहिए। और बहुत अच्छा सेशन था आज। और ये जो हम सोच रहे हैं ना, देखिए हम आपको स्क्रीन पे किताब दिखा सकते हैं, परंतु ये जो किताब है इसका स्क्रीन वर्जन अवेलेबल नहीं है, पहली बात। और दूसरा, स्क्रीन पे किताब दिखाना रस्किन बॉन्ड जी को इज्जत नहीं है, क्योंकि रस्किन बॉन्ड जी की इज्जत कहाँ है? आप उनकी किताब खरीदें, ये मेन चीज है। इसको आप गुरु दक्षिणा समझ लीजिए या किताब खरीदिए। एक छोटी सी किताब ऐसे जरूर मंगाइए, अपने स्कूल में आप फ्रेंड्स में शेयर कर लीजिए। एक स्कूल में 2-4 लोग इकट्ठे पढ़ लीजिए। और अगर किसी को किताब चाहिए, हेल्प चाहिए किसी प्रकार की, तो हम हमेशा है ना यहाँ पे। जुगजीत सर को आप मैसेज भेज दिए, जुगजीत सर आपको हैप्पी बर्थडे लिख के किताब भेज देंगे, कोई मुश्किल नहीं है उसमें, है ना जुगजीत सर?
क्यों नहीं, क्यों नहीं।
हाँ, किताब अगर किसी को चाहिए तो हमेशा देने को तैयार है। हम हैं इसीलिए, हम केवल एक चीज के लिए यहाँ हैं कि किताब की तरफ प्यार, किताब की तरफ गुड विशेस, और रीड एंड लीड। अगर आप रीड करेंगे तो आप लीड करेंगे, याद रखना इस चीज को। थैंक यू मनीषा मैम, आपने मुझे बोलने का मौका दिया। और मैं शुक्रगुजार हूं कि आप लोग इतने प्यार से सब यहाँ आते हैं। इसके लिए हम जितना भी आपका थैंक यू बोलें, हमारे गुरु जगजीव जी और मनीषा मैडम, वी आर एब्सोल्युटली ऑनर बाउंड एंड फ्लोर्ड टू हैव यू विद अस।
मनीषा, शौर्या ने भी ऑलरेडी रिफ्लेक्शन लिखा हुआ है चैट में।
सर कहाँ पे दिखा आपको?
चैट में
ओके
शौर्या ने रिफ्लेक्शन लिखा हुआ है कुछ समय पहले।
ओके।
चैट पूरी कॉपी कर लो मनीषा मैम, पूरी चैट कॉपी हो जाएगी, आप चैट डाउनलोड कर सकते हो।
हाँ
You
जी हाँ
can
जी।
download the whole chat and you can pick up the context.
यस सर।
हैव अ हैंड अप।
यस राजेश।
राजेश है नहीं वैसे, बट आई डोंट थिंक सो, एटलीस्ट आई रिमेम्बर राइट।
और
रीनेम
कोई कुछ कहना
रीनेमिंग।
चाहेगा आज के सेशन के बारे में? आप अगर चाहो तो एक छोटी सी ड्राइंग भी बना सकते हैं इसके ऊपर में। आपकी थॉट्स, जब वो बच्चा मिला उन्हें तो कैसे दिख रहे होंगे, वो पहाड़ कैसे दिख रहे होंगे, क्या था, क्या आपको अट्रैक्ट किया, ये सारी चीजें आप कर सकते हैं।
एक
और
और
लिख
वो बहुत
करके।
अच्छा आराध्या ने लिखा है मैडम, आराध्या का है।
हाँ जी।
हाँ, and आप हिंदी में लिख सकते हैं, इंग्लिश में लिख सकते हैं, जो मर्जी।
आप वॉइस मैसेज भी भेज सकते हैं हमको। अगर आप चाहें, आपको लिखना दिक्कत है, तो आप मनीषा मैम को व्हाट्सएप से वॉइस मैसेज भी भेज सकते हैं। अगर आपके पास अभी फोन है या एक्सेस है, आप बोल के वॉइस मैसेज भेज दीजिए, मनीषा जी उसको टेक्स्ट बना लेंगी। हम वो भी एक्सेप्टेबल है हमारे लिए, क्योंकि फोन में टाइप करना मुश्किल होता है। तो आप अगर वॉइस मैसेज भेजना चाहें, प्लीज वॉइस मैसेज भेज दीजिए। आप माय गुड स्कूल के ग्रुप में लिखना चाहें, वहां भी लिख सकते हैं, क्योंकि रिफ्लेक्शन माय गुड स्कूल का है। किसी तरीके से आपका रिफ्लेक्शन हमारे पास आए और हम उसे सुने, पढ़ें और देखें, तो हम बहुत खुश होंगे।
आप रिफ्लेक्शन, अभी किसी ने लिखा, इंग्लिश में लिखना है, हिंदी में, आप किसी भी भाषा में लिख सकते हैं जो आपको कंफर्टेबल हो। ड्राइंग बनाइए, वॉइस नोट भेजिए, जो आपकी इच्छा वैसे कीजिए। and we'll be happy to get it.
मैम अपना ईमेल और कांटेक्ट दे दीजिए इनको जो पूछ रहे हैं।
हाँ जी, मैं अपना ईमेल आईडी आपको देती हूँ, प्लीज नोट इट डाउन। एक्चुअली ईमेल आप करोगे तो आप थोड़ा सा कंफर्टेबल भी हो जाओगे, आप ज्यादा भी लिख सकते हो।
बेटर है आप ईमेल से भेजें, बिकॉज ईमेल भेजना भी आपको आना चाहिए। आप व्हाट्सएप में टाइप कर दीजिए, और मैम का जो नंबर है जॉय ऑफ लर्निंग डायरीज पे है कांटेक्ट में। अगर आप जॉय ऑफ लर्निंग डायरीज पे जाएंगे, मैम मैं एक सेकेंड इनको दिखा देता हूँ कहाँ से मिल जाएगा, ताकि टाइप करने में, कॉपी करने में, चैट जाने में, इसमें कुछ ना कुछ हो जाता है और ये मिस कर जाएंगे। एक सेकेंड में मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ इनको कहाँ से मिलेगा आपका नंबर। ये है यहाँ पे। मैम आ गया स्क्रीन पे?
यस सर।
आप यहाँ से कॉपी कर लीजिए, व्हाट्सएप कर दीजिए। मैम दिन में काम करती हैं, प्लीज कॉल मत करना। मैम को 4 बजे के बाद अगर आप व्हाट्सएप भेजना चाहें, 4 बजे के बाद। ईमेल 24 घंटे खुला है, जब मर्जी भेज दीजिए। जुगजीत सर, जाने से पहले मैं कुछ कहना चाहूंगा जॉय ऑफ लर्निंग डायरीज के बारे में।
सही है सर।
इस हफ्ते जो रिफ्लेक्शन आ रहे हैं वो तो मुझे हिलाने वाले आ रहे हैं। बहुत डीप थिंकिंग है, अगर आप सोचें देखें। जैसे रिफ्लेक्शन आ रहे हैं और लगातार आ रहे हैं, हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों भाषा में आ रहे हैं। इसके लिए हम इनकी दाद देते हैं, जो टीचर लोग यहाँ आते हैं, जो बच्चे यहाँ आते हैं। हमें सच्ची मानना पड़ेगा कि वो मेहनत कर रहे हैं। और ये तो बहुत अच्छे ड्राइंग करके बनाते हैं जैसे आप चाहते हैं। और गुरु नानक देव जी की जर्नी के रिफ्लेक्शंस बहुत आए हैं। मेरे ख्याल आपने जॉय ऑफ लर्निंग डायरीज देख ली होगी पहले टाइम निकाल के। तो आप देखिए, ये अक्टूबर में काफी सारे रिफ्लेक्शन हैं, और अभी तक हमारे पास अक्टूबर में 10-12 रिफ्लेक्शन आ चुके हैं। अभी शुरुआत ही है अक्टूबर की, अभी बहुत बड़ा टाइम पड़ा है। आप धीरे धीरे देखिए, एवरेज है 25-30 रिफ्लेक्शन आते हैं। हमको इससे आगे जाना चाहिए। बस मैं यही कहना चाहता था कि रिफ्लेक्शन आते रहने चाहिए, हम इन्हें कैप्चर कर लें। अगर एक रिफ्लेक्शन आता है, आप इसे खोलेंगे, इसके अंदर और भी होते हैं, मल्टीप्लायर इफेक्ट भी है। अब जैसे एक ही रिफ्लेक्शन के अंदर बहुत सारे हैं एक ही पोस्ट में। थैंक यू जुगजीत सर।
Okay, Manisha ma'am, over to you to
थैंक यू
close.
सर।
Talat Bano, you have raised your hand. So, in case you want to say something, you're allowed.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, where we have to send the reflection to you or to Sandeep, sir?
बेटा मुझे भेज दो, सर को क्यों परेशान करना।
आप
आप
बेटा जहाँ मर्जी भेज दो, आपको जिसका नंबर मिल जाता है आप वहां भेज दो।
आप सर को भेजना चाहो मोस्ट वेलकम, मुझे भेजना चाहो मोस्ट वेलकम, जो आपको पसंद है उधर भेज दो। चलिए, विद दिस आई एंड द सेशन टुडे सेशन। रस्किन बॉन्ड बहुत ही अच्छे लिखते थे, एंड लाइक मसूरी में है, तो कभी किसी का मन करे तो हम देहरादून से मसूरी जाते हैं उनसे मिलने के लिए, एक हेलो करके आएंगे। तो रिफ्लेक्शंस का यस, हर बारी मुझे इंतजार रहता है, तो आज से ही स्टार्ट हो गया है। जितना जल्दी आप लिख सको, ड्राइंग कर सको, मुझे भेज सको, दैट बी good for me. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Take care.
थैंक यू सर
थैंक
एंड
यू
मैम।
मैम।
Bye,
Bye.
beta.
थैंक यू मैम फॉर
Thank you,
क्लास।
Jane.
थैंक यू सर एंड मैम एंड
Bye.
Jane,
बाय
ma'am.
बाय।
Bye,
Thank you.
Jen.
बाय जुगजीत सर, थैंक यू।
बाय
Bye,
सर।
Jujib sir.
बाय।
Bye.